Welcome back to the Fierce and Femme podcast.
With your hosts, Rami and Alicia.
Talking all things fitness, mindset, and everything in between.
To help you become your most fierce and femme selves. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode. And today we're really excited for this episode because we're a little gobsmacked actually about some facts that we're going to say to you girlies. And this is all about strength training and why you should, well, not should actually, why you need to be strength training. And Alicia is going to kick it off with this spicy information that we found out.
Yeah, let's go. I'm excited. This is my bread and butter. So, only 1 in 5 Australian women meet the recommended guidelines of engaging in resistance or muscle strengthening exercises at least twice a week. Men participate in strength training at higher rates than women, which sadly I think will probably come as no shock to people because I think especially for women, before we dive into like some more consequences, is there's such a strong belief around strength training will make me bulky because all the types of exercise for women for years have been lightweights. I even still see it to this day of women come into Pilates and I say heavy weights and they're grabbing 1 kilo. And it's like, babe, you're flying those things around. Like you can lift way more than that. But it's so ingrained in us. Like, I don't know about you. I know I grew up like this of, okay, I've got to do the body weight and like all the pulses and things to get rid of my inner thighs and all that stuff that people are so terrified to lift heavy to one, look like I always say like Arnold Schwarzenegger, one like physically, hormonally, biologically, you can't unless you're taking steroids. Literally, it's just not going to happen as a female. But 2, like I think even people are scared of lifting heavy weights for injury purposes of like, I don't trust myself to lift that heavy and like what can happen and lots of nerves around that. So yeah, we're going to dive into why I guess that's wrong. Because
why you need to change that?
I can tell you right now, I've been strength training on and off for like almost 10 years now, but really consistently for the past probably about 6 years now. And I don't look like Arnie. I can tell. And it's a struggle. Like I was in a build phase eating a shit ton of food, pushing so hard at the gym and still don't look like that. And that's just like evidence of you, like I said again, biologically, we have less testosterone than men do. And that contributes a lot to us building muscle, getting bulky, all the things. So even with enhancements, it's still really difficult for women to get bulky. So it just ain't going to happen pretty much, to reassure you in that sense.
We're going to lay out some consequences to you not strength training or you not increasing the number of times you strength train per week. And buckle in. Is all I want to say. And they might hit you in the face. You might be scared. You might be nervous about it. But that's the whole point, because if you're not strength training, these things are going to happen whether you like it or not. And I guess our mission for this episode is to make sure you're left with the education around what happens if you don't, and then equally what happens if you do, because we're not going to just leave it as a scary episode. We're also going to tell you all the positives, okay?
And why it's so important.
Yes, exactly. So just one of the first consequences is that it accelerates natural muscle loss.
If you don't strength train.
Yeah, if you do not strength train. So if you're already sitting there thinking, I'm not strong enough, that's going to get worse. And think about your life down the line if you do not have strength. Like imagine if you haven't had a baby yet. I don't know if you can see my face, but like imagine the strength you need just to carry it during pregnancy. And then what about carrying a newborn with you every single day? And they grow and they grow. And like life is going to keep moving forward and you've got to play catch up, really. And being strong through life and through your life changes is going to make life so much easier.
I think I even like to bring it back to like everyday things that people don't realize, of carrying the groceries to your car, even carrying the groceries home, walking upstairs, like lifting things if you're moving houses. Like I know when I'm moving house, there's so much shit I can carry on my own because I'm a strong fucking bitch. And one of my, this is like going off track for a second, but motivations for strength training was, I remember clearly I used to move house a lot. I've lived in plenty of different houses, and my dad would always ask my sister to help him lift things because she was the stronger one. And that like obviously had an effect on me in some sense, because it's now like I'll lift shit without either of them. Like and stronger than both of them. And there's so many things that I just know that I'm capable of now because I do strength training. And I think it also brings you a sense of independence of like, I don't need to ask for help with that because I can do it myself because I am strong, which I think is really cool. Also, if we're not strength training, it can increase a decline in bone density, especially after menopause. Now, women are already more susceptible.
You got there.
To things like osteoporosis. So when you're not strength training, you're just honestly increasing that risk already. We're already susceptible. We're already more susceptible. So don't do that to yourselves, girly.
And wow, we've got a few here, which is actually so great. Oh yeah, on the back end of increased risk of osteoporosis, there's also falls and metabolic diseases. I don't know about you, but if I fall down, I want to be able to get back up.
And this is a really sad thing. I know majority of our audience is like 20s, 30s, maybe early 40s, but you see so much in the older generation. And I literally just said in our episode before about a man falling down at the gym, but a lot in the older generation, a fall can actually be fatal for people because they fall, they do not have the strength because they don't have the muscle to get back up and don't know how to get back up. And I've seen there's this really great guy on TikTok who goes into nursing homes and helps them like physically. And sometimes it's literally just teaching people how to get back up after a fall.
Wow.
If you do the strength training now, you can be leaps and bounds by then that you don't even have to worry about that. But I think sadly that wasn't ingrained in a lot of the older generation. And we're so lucky right now that we can, again, do preventative things rather than that happening and being like, shit, I've just broken my hip and now I literally can't do anything. Like I said, it can literally be fatal. And it's so easy to hear that and go, oh yeah, but I'm 20 and it doesn't even matter. But like, start now. It all starts now so that by then you have the strength to do that and don't have to rely on everyone for everything. Now, it can also, what's the word? Lead to, that's the word I'm looking for, pregnancy complications, gestational diabetes, and maternal obesity as well. So if you are someone who's planning to be a mum, and so many women have the goal to be a mum, strength training is important for that as well.
I think as well, like speaking of mums, if you've got kids, because I always think about this too, like what mum do I want to be? How do I want my kids to look up to me? And I want them to be able to go, oh my God, my mum is strong.
Yeah.
My mum is fit. My mum is able. She can move around. And if you can start instilling those programs now, that's going to come so much more naturally when you do have children. Just a little tip in there. Our last consequence is that ultimately it's going to threaten long-term mobility and independence. So a little bit like how Leisha was saying before, she feels so much more independent now because she's done the strength training and still doing it. The difference is that if you don't, you're going to lose that independence and you are going to have to rely on people to walk you, to drive you, take you to places. Oh, can you go get this from the fridge for me? Can you pick this up for me? And you can just imagine the further consequences that's going to create. The weaker you're going to become, the more fragile you're going to become. And we're not saying you're going to be Superman just for going to the gym 3 times a week, but it's going to create such big differences in your life. And if you know that you want to be that person that's super fit or healthy or agile, or at least able to just move around the older you get, then that's going to require you making those moves now.
And we're going to make things a little bit more positive now. And the first tip or point is that, one, it doesn't have to look like 7 sessions a week, because I think that's also a big barrier for people in getting into fitness overall or moving their body is the overwhelm in like, okay, cool, that's so much, or I don't have the time. Like the amount of times we hear, I don't have the time to do that. But literally all it takes is 2 to 3 sessions a week that is going to impact all those consequences that we just said. It's going to help with the bone density loss, the muscle loss, increased fall risk, mortality risk, all of the above from literally just 2 to 3 sessions a week. And I think I just want to also take a second to clarify what is strength training, because I feel like we haven't yet really done that. It's not Pilates, unfortunately. It is lifting some heavy shit and progressively overloading. So when we look at progressive overload, this is if we're wanting to specifically build muscle, we're needing to increase what we're doing pretty much every single week. So whether that's through our weights, our reps, it can also be done through tempo. But say, for example, and this is me getting like real in my PT side, if you were doing 3 sets of 10 squats, the next week maybe you do 3 sets of 11. And that's a form of progressive overload. Or if you're lifting 60 kilos the first week, maybe you lift 65 kilos the second week. But it's making sure that we are progressing, because also something that's really important is like your muscles adapt and they do get stagnant or plateau if we're not progressing as well. So it is important to keep challenging your muscles, or how people say like shock the muscle. Have you seen that funny trend where people like shock the muscle? But that's a really important aspect of it as well. But it is having resistance to the movement. So strength training isn't body weight training. We need some sort of resistance, whether that is a resistance band, whether that is a cable machine, whether that is dumbbells, barbells, whatever. We need some sort of weight to it to classify as strength training. And you're usually going to work within sets and reps rather than like timed things. Obviously, if you're at a gym and doing things like group classes, that might differ. But something really important as well in strength training, and I know I've taken like a bit of a different turn to this, but I think it's for the people that I guess don't know what it is, just really breaking it down is like you need to have rest in between your sets, because you can't lift heavy enough if you're not having rest. And I say this to clients all the time of like, when you get to the end of your set, you should actually need the rest that I programmed for you. If you don't need that rest, then you're probably not challenging yourself enough within the set to need it. So rest is really important. That's where our muscles recover, where you're able to challenge yourself more, not only within your session, but after the sessions as well. Is like making sure we have rest days and we're not training every single day of the week. And remembering, like I said, literally just before, is like all it can take is 2 to 3 sessions of strength training a week, like 2 sessions. That's can be 30 minutes.
You have time.
That's an hour of your week out of, I don't even know how many hours are in a full week, but a lot. But 1 hour of your week dedicated to lifting weights can make a massive difference to your overall health.
Yeah, I just love. I was really listening to everything that you were saying. I was like, you just keep going. It was beautiful.
It was beautiful.
Yeah. Another great positive, or a few more positives we've got here, is that it increases your heart health, muscle growth, and greater longevity in general. You guys want to live longer? Get in the gym is pretty much what I gather from that. Like, obviously, I think for us, it's common sense, right? We have created this lifestyle where when we were just saying before, like if we don't go to the gym, we feel like shit. And we haven't gone in this long. Whereas if you're that person that's like, oh, I have not gone at all, I think some people might think that, okay, well, that's just not for them. And they make it deeper than what it needs to be, a whole identity piece, let's say. But this doesn't need to be any deeper than just focusing on your health. That is simply it. The next time you feel that fear of going to the gym, or you're like, I'm just not a gym girly, I don't know what I'm doing, you've got to push past that barrier of the fear and go, oh, but if this is going to be better for my heart health, I should probably go. If this is going to be better for my muscles, I should probably go. If I'm going to live longer, I should sure as hell get into the gym. And I guess that's the whole point here, is like we want you guys to really understand that, yes, we know you might be scared to go to do something new, but the positives are just so important, and they need to be so much more ingrained in your mind than just your fears.
Yeah. I'm going to dive back into the fears for a second.
Yeah, go.
Because I think it's really important to recognize, like, without your health, you don't have anything. And it is the only thing that in your life that if that gets taken away, it will impact everything else in your life. Without your health, you don't have a social life. Without your health, it's probably really hard to make money. Without your health, your mental health's also going to suffer. Your relationships with your children, friends, family, like I said, social life before, but like your health which is a big reason why like health is what I do for work, is like the number one most important thing. And this is why we're always saying make time, because it is really important. It is really important for, like we said, the full risk. And even like the next point that's on our list anyways is your mental health. Is really important to move your body, to get outside, to lift some heavy weights and to challenge yourself and get comfortable being uncomfortable is really important, because I know that I even had retreat attendees come, and one of them specifically at the last retreat had just gotten so used to not being in a comfort zone that things like got so used to, not being in a comfort zone. She got so used to being in her comfort zone.
That's exactly what you said at the start.
To not being in her comfort zone.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. She's in the comfort zone.
Yeah. She was stuck in the comfort zone, that things like going to the post office felt terrifying because she'd gotten so used to being in the comfort zone. And as simple as like spending a weekend at the retreat where that would have been 0 to 100, right? Of putting you in really uncomfortable situations. We're getting up early. We're doing workouts. We were doing workouts in one of the mornings. It was 1 degree and we were training, and like we've gone 0 to 100, right? But just as simple as doing that, she was like, fuck, yeah, that was really uncomfortable. But after it, I felt so much better. And this is a lot of people's quote unquote problems, is like you're just so comfortable. Yeah, I'm just struggling to. You're so comfortable being comfortable that when it comes to discomfort, we just avoid it at all costs. Whereas discomfort is actually really good for us. It shows you what you're capable of. It teaches you resilience and how to tackle challenging situations. And there's that saying of like, you never regret a workout, or you never feel shit after you leave a workout. And I know how many times I've showed up to the gym and been like, this is the last place I want to be today. Or like, I cannot be fucked. I'm tired. I'm sore, whatever. And I leave and I'm just like, fuck yes, that was the best thing ever. And training releases endorphins in our body. Like it makes us happier. It improves our mood. It improves your libido. It improves, like we've said 10 million times already, your overall health. And like muscle as well, I want to come back to, is not just important for, I think a lot of people think of the aesthetic side of muscle of like, yes, okay, we can grow muscle and have like a great butt or like great shoulders and a sexy looking back. And I love all that stuff. Like there's nothing I love more on a woman than like a sexy looking back. But muscle is really important for the day-to-day activities. Even things like getting up off of a chair. Even things like bending over to pick something up. Or even like a really great example is how many people hurt themselves at work lifting things up. That's where the gym comes in handy. Or even like Rami's said in previous episodes, being a cop wearing all the gear and the equipment. Like your muscle is really important for that, even to protect your bones, to protect your body. If we don't have muscle, you're so much more prone to breaking bones because there's nothing around them to protect them. Yeah.
I really liked that. Yeah, it was a really great way to put that.
Thanks.
I think that was all the tips that we actually had written down.
Oh, is it?
On our list. Yeah, we managed to cover it all.
Oh,
yeah. Do you have anything else to add though? Because I was, again, I love, these are some of my favorite episodes because I feel like I also get to be a listener because I'm like,
learn
here's Alicia just
it.
like kicking it off with all of her knowledge, and I love it so much.
I'm just thinking for a second.
I guess I'll just like shout you out. Is like, obviously if anybody needs, because this is a thing with the gym, right? Is like, it's not just the gym. There's always so much more to it.
Yeah.
There's so much mindset work around the gym because we can tell you guys all of these facts and we can say the consequences of not going and the positives of going. But if you're sitting there riddled with anxiety and fear and doubts and stress, those consequences and the positivity is not going to fucking matter.
Yeah.
And you've really just got to, I guess, decide for yourself why it's important to you, what the consequences are specifically to you and your life, and also what the positives are to you and your life too. And you know that if you need support, whether it's the physical side of things, you need a program and all those sorts of things, Alicia's here for you. And if you need more of like the deeper rooted, fun, subconscious work, I got you. But
yeah. One last side I was going to say to things is I think that people don't take this side of health as seriously as they take like a disease. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
your mobility is so important. And I want you, like, let's get morbid. We're there. Let's get morbid for a second of like, if you couldn't walk, how much different would your life look? Like, if you couldn't lift things up, your life looks so insanely different. And this is where like the falls and risks can happen, or even general mobility is when I guess this is more Pilates, but your mobility is so important in terms of being able to bend over and touch your toes. You know how many people can't do that, or do a really simple stretch, or sit with your legs crossed? There's so many people that I teach in Pilates that can't sit with their legs crossed. And it's just that we don't move. And a conversation that's been coming up a lot in my coaching recently, which has been really interesting, is that now we live such sedentary lifestyles. If you don't know what the words mean, pretty much we do fucking nothing. Like we've gone from, I don't know how me and a client got onto this conversation, but like back in the old days, people would walk everywhere. You would have to. There wasn't as much public transport. You maybe didn't even have a car. You're moving your body so much more. We come to now, we've got Uber Eats. Majority of people work from home or sit at desk. That means that the amount of movement you're doing is next to none. To be just a healthy individual, and I'm like, this conversation sounding familiar. And I'm like, I just did a mini ep similar to this. So you can always go back and listen. That was on like health versus restriction, I believe. But to be a healthy individual, you need to move your body. It's actually a non-negotiable. And I think there are so many people that treat it as optional or like an extra thing of like, oh, I'm just not someone who goes to the gym. But it's like, well, everyone should be people that go to the gym. Like that should not be an optional add-on to your lifestyle. It should be something that's a part of your lifestyle. Like walking daily should be something that's a part of your lifestyle to be a healthy individual. Strength training should be something that's a part of your lifestyle to be a healthy individual. And that is just as important as taking medication when you have a fever or, getting sick and going to the doctor. Your physical, like bodily health of your muscles, your bones is just as important of all that side of things. And I think people actually need to take it more seriously than just the aesthetic side of strength training to look good, because it can be really fun as well. And I know I said like going to the gym and following the programs and things, but like I'm going to group classes at the moment and lifting heavy shit in the group classes. Like as long as you're challenging yourself, you're lifting some heavy weights and having rest in between your strength training, whatever that looks like. You could literally, for all I know, lift books at home or like lift milk cartons. I got creative in COVID. Like there's plenty of different ways you can do it, but we listed all the consequences at the start. But I think just wanting to reiterate that this is a really important part that should just be not questionable in your lifestyle. And I think going even deeper now, like that comes down to how we're even like raised from the start in like the family that you're in, whether movement is normal. And I'm hoping that now in like the generation we're in, that like kids are going to be more raised that like movement is a non-negotiable, and that's not something that like certain people do. And there's not as many girls that are like pretending they have their period and not doing their PE classes and small things like that, because that's where it starts. And where we get to now is usually repairing a lot of that because of everything you've been taught and showing you that movement doesn't have to be something so shameful and scary and be the PE class where you're picked last and not the fittest person in the room. It can actually be so much fucking fun. And I will say I really do pride myself on creating that in terms of like showing women that movement is not a competition. And I'm just going to keep going. But I had a retreat attendee that was really genuinely scared. And a lot of people that come to my retreats go, I'm actually shit scared for the workouts because what if I can't keep up with everyone? I'm like, who cares? That's not what it's about. Like, this is literally about you versus you. And movement doesn't have to be that competition of, again, like the PE class and who's the fastest or whatever. It's literally about your general overall health to live longer. Like, everyone wants to live a great, happy, long life. Movement is a massive part of that.
Beautiful. I don't have anything else to add.
Perfect.
You want to wrap it up there?
Yeah, I think
Beautiful.
That's the perfect place
Thank
to leave
you
it.
guys so much for listening. Like we said, if you need support on your gym journey, your strength training journey, please feel free to send us a DM. And you know the drill. Give us a follow, leave us some comments. Let us know what you guys want to hear from us so we can prepare and give you all the value and education and fun that you guys deserve. And if you're over on our YouTube, hello, we love you. Please subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and we will be in your ears next week.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening.
If you're over on Spotify, don't forget to give us a follow and rate us 5 stars.
And if you're over on our YouTube, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
See you next week.
Bye.